Hey y'all, my name is Cassie and I am the creator of Pieces of Scrap, and in today's video we're going to be looking over my market recap for Lovelady Lovefest. So overall it was a pretty successful market. I wish I could have done better, but I kind of got unlucky with the weather. In Lovelady that day it was raining on and off all day really hard, and it also started storming in the afternoon. So in the morning there was a parade at the Lovefest and it was supposed to be over by 10 o'clock, but they actually had to end it early because of the rain and the storm. So after that, a lot of people went home after the parade. A lot of people had kids in the parade and stuff like that. So there were a lot of like high schoolers wearing like Lovelady High School merch and stuff like that came by through the booths throughout the day, which was pretty cool. I got multiple purchases from people around that age range, kind of looking like they were there for the same purpose, probably for the parade, probably as other vendors or staff on site helping with vendor booths. So yeah, that was pretty awesome. I had a lot of people come by and, they would come by earlier in the day and then they'd come by later in the day and actually make a purchase, like they had made the rounds and decided they were gonna come back and buy something from me, which was really flattering and really awesome. I think at this event specifically, there was only one other crochet booth, and it was actually next to somebody I know from church who also had a booth here, so that's the only reason I know that there was another one. And then the only other inkling that I got about there being another crochet booth was I saw people with things that they bought at Lovefest that weren't my products, but they were crocheted products like amigurumi. So I knew that there was somebody there. I just didn't know where or, how many people, but it seems like there was only one other competitor there. Because of the storm, I kept getting waves of customers come in. You can always tell when it's raining because tons of people would flood into the indoor areas. So my booth was luckily indoors. It was the farthest community center from where you enter into the park for Lovefest. So I was worried that that was going to affect my sales as well. The way that Lovefest is set up is there were exterior vendor locations where you could set up under like a pavilion, but then most of the vendors were set up in the gym. And then there's two community centers, and I was in the second one, which is the farthest one away from like all the food and all the activity and where most of the vendors are set up. So yeah, there were, I think, 90 vendors at this event, and I just ended up being in one of the community centers, which is unlucky, but I think I also put in my application late, and it was a first come, first serve basis. So in my last video, you might have seen that I tried to do a mock setup, and it was just all around a failure because of the wind and the weather at my house. So the wind kept knocking over my displays. I got some funny little bloopers from that. I didn't actually show like the time lapse of my mock setup because of that. So the new idea that I had tried was to set up areas in my booth where it has everything that is one price in one area with like a big sign to make sure that people knew, hey, everything in this section is $8, or everything in this section is $10, or these are all things that are $18 and up and stuff like that. I did it that way, and you could really tell that that helped with people's selection because people would flock to the $8 sign or the $10 sign and be looking through everything like, what am I gonna get? I wanna get something. And it really helped people narrow down what they were gonna purchase from me and not like give up because they feel like they can't find something in their price range. So I think that was really helpful. In the $8 range, I had my pocket pandas, mini triceratops, mini chubby dinos, mini octos, and mini whales. So I had 5 items in my $8 section, and by far the most popular was the mini chubby dinos. I sold 6 of those, 2 of which I made while I was at the event because I started to get worried I was going to sell out, and I would have sold out if I didn't make those 2. So By far bestseller was the Mini Chubby Dino, which is a new pattern. It's a new free pattern on Instagram by Nicole Crochets and Celestial CB Crochets. So go ahead and check that out on Instagram if you haven't already. It's a really cool pattern. I really like it a lot. I ended up leaving the event at about 3 p.m. It was slated to stay until 4 p.m., but everybody, like all the vendors, started packing up at 3 p.m. because it seemed like most of the customers cleared out by that point, and it was raining really hard, so people just wanted to get out of there, and I was one of those people. We actually got our truck stuck in the mud, but luckily they had the fire department on location to help pull people out of the ditch when they did get stuck. So we got stuck in the spot where we parked, and Lovelady is kind of a small rural town, so they don't have paved parking spots outside of the park where vendors were trying to pull up and, you know, park so that they could load their cars up with their merchandise and displays. So we ended up getting stuck in the dirt, but we got pulled out right away and quickly loaded up the truck and got out of there. So it was a very dreary, sad day. Wasn't super great for sales, but I did make back my booth fee, and I wasn't at a net negative once we look at my numbers. So my gross sales was $277. The vast majority of that was cash. I think I got 2 or 3 Cash App purchases, and then I got 2 or 3 Venmo purchases as well, but the vast majority was cash sales, and then I think I got 2 Square sales. So that's good because everything except for Square does not have fees, so that's as good as it could be. So when you take out my material cost and my booth fee from my gross sales, I made $205.13. And then after that, if we factor in how much time it took to make those items, I made $95.68, which is a higher number than I'm used to seeing, because normally in the past, all of my prices were marked for 5% profit, whereas now they're at 20% profit. So I'm seeing a lot more money in that true profit. So aside from market recap stuff, I also took this time after the market to kind of rework my Excel workbook so that I can, you know, give it a facelift and rearrange it for my needs and kind of add new things as I needed it. So the biggest thing that is a change is, of course, my inventory page. I made an inventory page so that I could have a running total of the value of my inventory, and that is especially needed for like tax returns and stuff like that at the end of the year for personal tax returns, like the annual ones. So I made a page with my inventory. It lists products, the price of those items, category that they're in, so like plushies, hats, accessories, etc. And then like the total number of those items that I have to manually update. Unfortunately, all of these things are kind of manual inputs, and in the future I hope to kind of automate that, but for now it's all manual. And then I also have a column for total sold of those items so that I can keep track of my best sellers for the year. And then on the right side of my inventory page, I have the totals, the total value of my inventory, and I just add a date to the left of those totals to keep track of when the last time I tallied and totaled my inventory. Next up on my sales page, I've kind of changed this because before I kind of had a chart for each of my separate sale opportunities. So I would have one, for example, for the pop-up shop on said date, and then I'd have like a separate one for commissions and a separate one for the peanut festival and stuff like that. I've changed it up so that I can in the future automate my inventory page to like pinpoint what best sellers are, update you know, total inventory based on that sales page. So that being said, I made all of my sales into one list so I can see how much I made per quarter, and that'll tally out and total out at the bottom, which is awesome. And then on the right side of that page, I have an event summary chart, which tells me the event name, the date of that event, the city or town that it's located in, any fees associated with that event, and then also the gross sales, the material profit, and true profit for those events specifically. And that is all calculated automatically. Before I had it total out on each chart, but now this way it can all be in one chart together. I don't have to have separate charts for the events. And then on the side, I can have it automatically calculate those things and put it in the same chart for me so that it's all in one central location and I don't have to scroll through all of my sales for each event to figure out what my totals for those events were. And then on the rightmost side of this page of my workbook is my tax section. So this is so that I can keep track of my gross sales less tax, which is just my gross sales with the tax that I charge in my pricing taken out so that I can report that for my quarterly tax returns. And then my expected sales tax, which I believe is calculated manually. And then also my actual sales tax that is inputted manually when I pay my tax returns for the quarter. And then also in this section, I have the annual tax returns kind of information, and that's mostly just like my expenses each quarter. That is just to make sure that I am appropriately and accurately reporting that information for when I do my annual tax returns. So yeah, lots of updates. I think my spreadsheet's looking a lot better now. It's making a lot more sense in terms of like workability and the way that I use it. So it's coming out way nicer. I don't know if in the future I will ever make this like a product that I can sell to you guys. I know some people have expressed interest in having this kind of Excel worksheet, but I know that Cameron's Cute Creations sells like a really similar one to the one that I've made. And the biggest reason why I don't really want to put it out there is because I'm still troubleshooting a lot of things. I'm relying on my husband a lot to kind of walk me through how things in Excel work, because I don't use Excel day to day, but he does. So he has a lot more experience in it, and I don't want to commit him to, you know, troubleshooting problems that people may have if I did sell the spreadsheet. So yeah, that's kind of why I don't feel comfortable doing it right now. Maybe in the future when I have a few years under my belt of doing this and have more experience with troubleshooting on my own, maybe then I would be comfortable selling my template. But for right now, it's not in the cards for me. But yeah, other than that, really happy with the market results for Lovefest, and I think I just got really unlucky with the weather and everything, but in the future I'm sure that it would be a much better event, like especially since the Facebook RSVP was like 636 people, around that number had replied maybe to coming to the event. So I think it was kind of just a fluke with the weather. I'm sure that there's a lot more people that turn out normally and who actually like come there to spend money and not actually just to be there to, you know, support their kids being in a parade. So yeah. Anyway, if you guys enjoyed this video, make sure you hit that like button and comment down below what you want to see in the future, what you are working on for your markets. Just let's have a chat in the comments. I try to reply to everybody's comment. And if you guys like my content and want to see more from me, make sure you hit that subscribe button. I upload new videos every Tuesday, and I'll see you guys next Tuesday. Bye.